Good evening and welcome to Prep Huddle Live, week number 4. We are excited for you to be joining us this evening here live on strivsports.com for our weekly show. Hopefully you've caught on that we are doing this every Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m. We're pumped that you're joining us, and we want to thank you for tuning in. You can watch all the recorded shows from previous weeks, and hopefully you're kind of getting an idea of the format of our show as well that we go through. And tonight we've got, as always, Tony Chapman, our lead sports writer for StrivSports.com, joining us via Google Hangouts over in Grand Island, and Bobby Mills, a great sports writer in the state of Nebraska, joining us as well via audio and Google Hangouts. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Taylor.
So quick little shout out to the Aurora Huskies. Coach Huebert, who you will actually hear later in the show, interview, hooked us up with an awesome Husky football t-shirt, and we got him a Striv t-shirt today. So excited to be showing off the Aurora Huskies football t-shirt. Very comfortable, dry fit Nike shirt. Love it. I know, Tony, you want one of those, right?
I do. I want like 3 of them probably, actually. So.
All right, well, let's jump right into our highlight package from our game of the week last week, which was between the High Plains Storm and BDS Eagles up in Clarkson, Nebraska. And again, another long game, lots of passing, a lot of yards. Tony, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Taylor. Well, again, yeah, we were in Clarks for our game of the week, and High Plains played BDS, second straight week that I've seen BDS play, and they haven't disappointed me. So. And neither did High Plains, really. It was a game that I thought would be close kind of from the start, and both teams really battled. And again, BDS comes out in the second half like they did against Giltner when we saw 2 weeks ago, and really kind of took control of the game from there on. So we had a game with 112 points, 875 yards of total offense. For good measure, 48 points were scored in the third quarter alone. It was 28-22 at the half. BDS got ahead 28-6, and then with behind a sophomore quarterback, Thomas Young, with Jay Wirtz was injured a little bit in the first half. High Plains got back to within 28-22 at halftime, and then all of a sudden there comes BDS again in the third quarter, just like they did against Giltner. They get a 71-yard touchdown from Cale Kleinschmidt on a 3rd and 16 play to open the third quarter. They get a TJ Krupicka pass from quarterback Grant Norder, and then 2 more Grant Norder runs of 2 and 58 yards to really take control of the ball game, and we were almost to the running clock. They got up 34, but then High Plains kind of came back and scored on a nice drive. They had, I believe it was Trey Engel with a 10-yard run, and then Josh Hogan recovered a Grant Norder fumble that got High Plains within, I believe at that point it would have been within about 20 points, and they kind of had a little bit of momentum. But as soon as they had that fumble return, then TJ Krupicka returns a kickoff 76 yards for a touchdown. It's kind of put BDS back in control. In all, there were 3 touchdowns in the last 39 seconds of the third quarter. So it was, again, a really good football game. And BDS is 4-0 and off this week, ranked 5th in Class D1. And High Plains, the gauntlet start continues for the Storm. They travel to Henderson. They will play 4th-ranked Heartland on Friday night. They have played preseason number 2, preseason number 3, preseason number 5, and preseason number 6 in their first 4 games. And they beat Blue Hill, who was preseason number 2, but have lost the other 2 games to Guardian Angels, who is now 2nd, and beat Howells Dodge on Friday. And then they've also obviously lost this game to BDS. So if High Plains can figure out a way to beat Heartland, which I wouldn't put past them, they've still got a lot of good things ahead of them. So I probably talked way too long on that one, but it was a really good football game, and both teams played well. Both quarterbacks, I know Jay Wirtz had about 200, just over 240 yards passing, and then Grant Norder did Grant Norder things, 193 yards rushing and 221 yards passing. and he accounted for 6 more touchdowns. So that's 12 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks from him.
Yeah, it was a fun game to watch. I got up there for the second half, and kind of like if you guys watched our post-game interview with coaches from BDS, just kind of a weird second half. Some penalties and a fumble and kick return, just a ton of different stuff happening. But great Crossroads, conference game up in Clark's, great atmosphere, and was a fun game of the week for us. So, all right. Again, we want to encourage everyone to be using social media during the show. You can use all sorts of ways to do that. Twitter is the best. Use the hashtag Prep Huddle Live, hashtag Striv Sports, or tweet at us at Striv Sports. Love to hear from you. Let us know who's watching, and if you got any feedback or questions that you'd like us to answer on the show. With that, we'll dive right into volleyball. Had some big games last night, and Tony, I know you're going to talk about some of them, so I'll let you go talk about recap some games and talk about some previews as well in volleyball action.
Yeah, let's just quickly run through the rankings if we can in volleyball that came out yesterday from Mike Patterson in the Omaha World Herald. In Class A, Millard West is 4th. And then in Class B, we have Grand Island Northwest and Aurora. Northwest is 6th. Aurora is 9th, and they played last night in Aurora as a game that was on Striv. I'll talk about that here in a second after we finish the rankings real quick. None of our schools ranked currently in C1. In C2, the game Sutton is 5th. They're 11-2. They beat obviously Superior last week, who is 6th there. And then at 8-1, Nebraska Christian enters the rankings as they're having a really nice early season here. So good to see them. Fullerton in D1 has moved all the way up to 6th from 9th last week. So good early season start for the Warriors. And then Creighton is also at 6-2 and ranked 10th. And then in D2, Hampton is 11-1 on the screen there. I believe 12-1 now. They beat Heartland last night to get their week off to a good start. And then Johnson Brock is at 5th. They were ranked 2nd last week. They're at 9-4. So plenty of teams ranked there, and a lot of good volleyball action you can see on the site tomorrow as well. And I know there's a couple invitationals this weekend. I think that might be a few games might be streamed there as well. Quickly into that game last night in Aurora, Northwest wins the first 2 against Aurora last night, 25-22 and then 25-18. And then Aurora comes storming back with 25-21 and 25-14 wins. And then in the 5th set was 15-12 for Northwest. And it's kind of an odd call there at the end of that game. It was tied, and there was a timeout called, and then Aurora got called for a rotation infraction, which gave Northwest an 11-10 lead. And then Aurora was able to tie it up at 11, but Northwest got a point and then a serving error to take a 13-11 lead, and they ended up winning that 5th set 15-12. A really balanced attack for Northwest. Allie Beckman had 10 kills, and Kylie Broik had 8 with 28 set assists for Northwest. And then Allison Penner, the Division I recruit for Aurora, had 42 set assists, and Kylie Hickson, I believe the coach's daughter, had 18 kills to lead Aurora. So that was a really good game over there in Aurora, and I'm sure we'll probably see those teams maybe play again once or twice before the middle of November rolls around. I know they're both hosting home invitationals this weekend. So kind of wraps up volleyball for last week, Taylor.
Yeah, just a quick note on that. I talked to Principal Kittle over in Aurora today, and he said they'll see him probably 2 or 3 more times yet. They're in the same district.
Yep.
Conference tournament more than likely later in October. So should be fun to see those 2 teams battle it out again later in the season. So.
Yep, absolutely.
Thanks, Tony. All right, we will move right along here and get into football. I know Tony and Bobby have a ton of games they want to preview. And then next we will talk about our Striv Star of the Week, our Huddle Striv Star of the Week, and then get into our Game of the Week this week and be announcing that. So I'll let you guys take it away here and talk about all the games coming up on Friday night.
Excellent. Very good. Well, yeah, there's a ton of games, obviously, that we have interest in, that we're kind of interested in seeing how they play out. And, we're really getting to, kind of the nitty-gritty time of the season. I know they'll start. It'll be the first week of district play here in Class C. Some fun district games will be starting in Class C. And I think 2 games left in Class B for most schools before they hit district play. So schools are really trying to position themselves to kind of see where they are. Bobby, I guess give us 30 seconds on the game you went to last week. I believe you went over to Columbus and watched Columbus SCOTUS play.
SCOTUS and Pierce, Tony.
Yeah.
That was a defensive battle until right at the start of the fourth quarter. And then all of a sudden, SCOTUS found some seams in that Blue Jay defense and a couple of long runs, and all of a sudden it's not so close anymore. And SCOTUS ended up winning that 28-14. They haven't had a prolific running game all year, and all of a sudden, boom.
There it went. And Pierce always is obviously well respected in football, and to think that SCOTUS already lost to Boone Central, it kind of makes me think Boone Central's pretty good. But I know we're down to, it looks like we got 5 5-0 teams in C1. So C1's going to be really good, I think, come November. Let's just run down the rankings really quick. Omaha North, a solid number 1 in Class A. They get the win over Bellevue West. Big win last week on Thursday night. Grand Island is 3rd, and I know they're not a Strive school, but they'll play a big game on Friday night with Omaha Westside in Grand Island. I know Grand Island was not happy with how they played last year against Westside, and that was their only regular season loss before they went to the semifinals. Omaha Central and Middle West are still 7th and 8th, respectively. And then in Class B, you have McCook, 4-0. We'll hear about them later. Crete is 3-1 with their only loss to top-ranked Scott. Aurora 7th at 3-1 as well, and their only loss is to Crete. So good set of teams there in B. And then in C1, we've got Boone Central Newman Grove at 4-0. Wilbur Claytoni has moved up to 5th. They are 4-0. Cozad drops to 7th. They lost to Kearney Catholic 27-20, a great football game on Friday night in Cozad there. And Syracuse still in the rankings. After losing their first 2 games, they've won their next 2 there. In Class C2, Sutton is 4-0, and they'll play county rival Sandy Creek on Friday. And, Bobby, we had our first 1,000-yard rusher of the season in Noah Johnson on Friday night.
Yeah, he just happened to have another monster game that put him 188 yards over 1,000, as a matter of fact.
Gee, many Christmas! Almost 1,200 yards in 4 games. I'd say that's doing work. So our 3 teams in D1 that were 4th, 5th, and 6th last week are now 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Creighton, Heartland, and Bruning, Davenport, Shickley. That was due to a win by Guardian Angels over Howells Dodge on Friday night. Did that result surprise you a little bit, Bobby, or not really?
Well, it would have had I not known that they just simply plugged in another running back, this Jesse Prieto, or however you pronounce his name, Prieto. Tanner Haas out for the season. They plugged this kid in, and I think he almost has 500 yards already. So
away he goes. I know my old high school coach Mike Bailey's calling the plays up in West Point, so I'm happy to see them off to a good start. Then in Class D2, we have Exeter Milligan at 3-0, and they're ranked 3rd. Of course, they went to the finals in Class D1 last year and won. And then in 6-man, we have Riverside, who they beat Hyannis 60-20 on Friday. Hyannis made it to the 6-man final last year, so a good start for Riverside up there. So that kind of runs through the rankings. Let's get right to the games I want to preview. So the first one is in Omaha at Millard West, and Taylor, I hope this one will be on will be on Striv. Is that correct? Millard South and Millard West?
I will have to double check. I don't know. They play at the same stadium, but I don't know if it's a home or away game. So you can check the upcoming events page.
Okay, I think Millard West is the home team for this one, but Bobby, it's always fun when two teams that call Buell home play at Buell. It'll probably be a lot of folks there. What do you expect from this one?
I expect overtime. Common opponent, Millard North, the same outcome, just a few less points scored. But these two teams, I don't know, you can't even pry them apart if statistically and what they've done.
Yep, they're both 2-2, and this should be a really good football game. So traverse our way all the way across the state for our second game, and Coach Stein will load the Vikings on the bus at 3-1, and they get to go play Scotts Bluff, who's also 3-1, and both teams are lone losses to McCook, and this will be a good test. Scotts Bluff is ranked 10th, and this will be a good test to see where Northwest is with 2 weeks left until district play. And I guess I'd suggest that the winner of this game will probably be ranked in Class B. Bobby, the Vikings had a big offensive performance last week. You think this one they can maybe get?
I think they can score, and I know Gearing's having a kind of a tough year, but I'm still impressed with a goose egg last week and that 62-0 win, plus the opening game against Adams Central where they only allowed 7. So I think Northwest will do a very good job out there, and I think they travel well. So it should be very interesting, very competitive.
Yeah, I agree. I think they've got a chance. This one will be interesting to see. And then I think they've got Sydney, who just lost to McCook, coming to town next week. So it should be interesting this couple of weeks for Northwest. And then over in York, we have 3-1, 6th-ranked Crete playing York, who's 2-2. They've lost those two games by a combined 5 points. They lost to Norris by a point in the opener, and then they lost last week to Pius. I don't know if you saw, Bobby, York ran 12 plays in the second half against Pius last week. So I don't know if you're going to win very many games doing that, but this will probably be a good one over in York, don't you think?
Oh, I think so. How about the two coaches involved? How much better can you get than that? Looks like two
of my favorites.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it should be good. Both teams will be well coached. And two good quarterbacks, one a senior, one a sophomore, and be interesting to see if maybe York can turn the tables and win a close game here. So let's travel down the road, Bobby, down to Highway 281, and Carl Tesmer's Blue Hawks against Donovan Trumbull, who have acquitted themselves nicely after that opening loss to North Platte St. Pat's. This one should be pretty fun, don't you think?
I think so. Boy, I feel a good performance. I don't want to make anybody angry at me, but I feel like a good performance coming from the Blue Hawks to Friday night. I just think, they got a little payback in mind the last couple seasons for Donovan Trumbull, and you don't want to make St. Cecilia mad at you.
Right, exactly. And then another game in that C27 district. Sandy Creek at 3-1 will play Sutton 4-0, and I know Sandy Creek was off to a good start, but looked like they kind of they got beat fairly handily by Fillmore Central last week. So Sutton has a chance to get off to a hot start in district play here, but those rivalry games, you never know, right?
This is true. That loss to Fillmore bothers me a little bit, but that word rivalry comes in and automatically makes it a better situation.
Yeah, and I should have checked who's hosting this. Is this one at Sandy Creek or at Sutton? I'm not sure.
Fairfield, I think, Tony.
Is it? And I had heard that Sandy Creek is playing all their home games at Clay Center this year. I know they played their Central there a few weeks ago because they're putting new bleachers up, I think, in Fairfield. So it'll be interesting to see how that one comes out. Yeah. Let's there's one, Bobby, that's not on here that I forgot to put on here, but I want to mention because Troy Hubert's done a heck of a job up in Central City, and they come to Grand Island on Friday, and they'll play Central Catholic. That's kind of one that 2-2 Central Catholic and 3-1 Central City. That might be kind of a fun football game on Friday.
I think it will, and Central Catholic better have their defensive backfield ready because, boy, they throw, 40, 50 passes a game. That Carlson kid's doing a terrific job. Hubert's doing a nice job coaching. That's going to be a big win, and the loser, wow, especially Central Catholic, they need to win this football game.
Yep. Okay, let's switch gears and go into the 8-man ranks here. We've got, let me count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 really good games in D1. Bloomfield, always good, 2-1. They visit Creighton, 3-0. And, Bobby, I'm sure you know about Creighton. I haven't done enough research, but my guess is they're running the football a lot.
They probably are, and they just run it right down. You have good line, and what the scores that they've put on Bloomfield the last couple of years, that's got to make those Bees really angry. So let's hope that they can make a good game out. Yeah, good rivalry anyway, for sure.
Yeah, and then Howells Dodge at 2-1 has to bounce back, and they'll play Clarkson Leigh, who is undefeated, and this game will be on Striv. So Clarkson Leigh is 3-0, and Howells Dodge 2-1. That's kind of a hard one to look at. It used to be 4 schools, and now it's 2, but that should be a pretty fun, hard-hitting Highway 92 game.
It should be, and Howells and Dodge, Howells and Clarkson and Dodge were always rivals, so there you go, build in, great game.
Yep. And then Heartland, as we mentioned earlier, will play High Plains, and that game will be on Striv as well. And boy, Heartland has off to a really, really nice start, beating Nebraska Christian 2 weeks ago in our game of the week, and then scored 50 against Blue Hill last week, beat them 50-32, and they'll probably try to run it, and my guess is High Plains will probably try to throw it. This is one that I know you see the records, but it's one that probably could go either way as well. You never know.
Never know. One thing, they better watch so the scoreboard doesn't short out all the points that are going to be on that. But wow, that's going to be a great football game. I just wonder how good Heartland is. Well, nobody knows. So far, very good.
Yep, they look very good. And another kind of sleeper in D1 has been Fullerton. They're 3-0, and they play Humphrey Lindsay Holy Family at 3-0 as well. I think this could be a game that maybe sets somebody up for a really nice regular season and maybe a couple home games in the playoffs. Your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I echo that exactly, Tony. I love this Fullerton football team. I like Garrett Sondrup, and I like their football coach, Ryan Houghton. But this is going to be Fullerton's first test, so it will set somebody up, just exactly as you say.
Yeah, and then we get back into D2 here in a good old-fashioned CRC slugfest. I love this one. I wish I could be there. Exeter Milligan 3-0 and Giltner 2-1. This one should be really good. Super impressed with how Giltner bounced back last week against Overton. I know Coach Ashby, after talking to him after the BDS game, he said, we'll find out a lot about ourselves in the next 2 weeks. And the first week they've done well, but this should be a really good football game too.
That should be very interesting. Yeah, I'm impressed as well, but I don't know if I've seen in 8-man football a better defensive tackling team than Exeter Milligan. Those boys know how to tackle. So
yeah, I would echo that. I haven't seen them this year, but I saw them play High Plains last year in the playoffs, and absolutely correct. Nobody gets past them, and they're fast, and they swarm to the ball, and really, really good. So, Taylor, we're only a minute over schedule, so I'm pretty happy about that. So we did it as fast as we could.
Nice work, guys. As always, that preview is one of the best probably in the state and highlighting our Striv schools. So thank you guys for all the time and effort you put into that preview, and just a great week. I just pull up the schedule, Tony. You're right. Millard West is hosting that game, so that will be live streamed, and just a ton of games you can watch and go to this week. Should be a fun Friday night, as always, to watch those games. So let's segue into our Huddle Striv Sports Star of the Week. And I'm going to turn it over to Tony, who picked him, this athlete, a senior out of Clarkson Leigh. Tony.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor. Our star of the week this week is Chris Konicek from Clarkson Leigh, and he had 162 yards on 19 carries and 6 receptions for 78 yards in a 58-34 win over Cedar Bluffs last week for the Patriots. So he's off to a good start, and I know I was talking with Bobby. We know that Chris missed a game, one of their first 2. We're not sure which, but in 2 games he's got 698 all-purpose yards, so just a measly 350 yards a game he's averaging, and 8 touchdowns for the Patriots. And again, they're 3-0, And that's a big game for them against Howells Dodge this week. And again, it'll be on Strive. And so, Bobby, I know you're a fan of his haircut, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah, he's got
exactly just like I like.
Yeah, he's got the AJ Hawk haircut going, I believe. So we're happy to honor Chris this week. And again, Taylor, as we said last week, we try to scour the stats as much as we can. And if there's any athletes that you guys feel are worthy of our Star of the Week, send them our way, and we're happy to recognize them.
Absolutely. It's been fun to see the student athletes that are putting these highlights up with Huddle and how that has changed the game as far as showcasing your talents online. So appreciate Chris putting those on. And I did send out an email, and I know you sent out a tweet to the football coach at Clarkson, Leigh. So we'll be sure to put that up after the show as well to the time where we talked about Chris. So congrats on being our Huddle Strive Sports Star of the Week this week, Chris. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back in about 30 seconds here from our sponsors, Cornerstone Bank, and we will announce our game of the week this week and sit down with one of the head coaches from one of the teams from our game of the week. We'll be right back.
Yeah, I get it. For the little things. Technology's great. It makes things easier. It's faster. We can get things done wherever we go. And we get all that from our bank. It works for us. But for the bigger things, the things that really count, I still want to talk to the people I know and trust. That's why I'm here.
All right, we're back. Thank you again to Cornerstone Bank, our sponsor here on Strive Sports and Prep Huddle Live. Well, this week, our Game of the Week returns to Aurora for the second time this year on Friday. And McCook, who's also a Strive school, and it's one of the top rivalries in Class B, as the Bison are 4-0 this year. And Aurora enters the game ranked 7th and winners of 3 in a row after a season opener overtime loss to Crete. And we tried to get Coach Randy Huebert on the show. They have their Wednesday night call sheet meeting. All the coaches sit around round table and have a meeting. So we caught up with him this afternoon in his home and did an interview, and we will show that to you right now. All right, Coach Huebert, thanks for being with us here on Prep Huddle Live. I want to talk about your team and how you guys have bounced back since the opening loss to Crete. Kind of touch on that. Just you guys have won 3 in a row now after that loss, and just how you think your team has responded from that.
Well, our team's always going to work hard, and it's going to prepare each week to be the best we can be. And you know, we got a really strong group of seniors, and Jake Kittle's an excellent leader. We got some excellent linemen, you know, that are doing a great job for us on both sides of the ball. And a lot of those big guys are setting the tone up front for us, and that makes it easier for our skilled guys to do their thing. But, yeah, I think we bounced back. I think our defense is playing really good right now. I know our tackling's really improved the last 3 games. And, you know, we're getting a lot of guys to the football, and offensively we're, you know, distributing the ball to a lot of people and making good decisions. And, you know, we're making progress.
Yeah, let's talk about your offense so far. You guys haven't scored fewer than 26 points, and your quarterback, Jake Kittle, is almost near 1,000 yards passing. Would you touch on that, you know, kind of expand on that a little bit?
Well, Jake is a tremendous competitor. That's his strength, I think. You know, he gets after it, and he wants to be very successful, and he's very coachable. A very good leader. He encourages people all the time, all around him, regardless who they are, scout team members, varsity guys, whatever. I mean, he's a really good ingredient in our football team, and he can pass the ball, you know, on the run. He can get out of the pocket and do that. He's got a strong arm that's really improved from last year. He can throw the deep ball, and he reads the option well. You know, we've had a little problem with consistency on that lately, but overall he's done a really nice job of that, and he gets vertical and runs the ball, and he runs the ball tough. So, you know, just a nice dual threat there at quarterback.
Absolutely. Let's talk about you and McCook. It's our game of the week this week here in Aurora. Normally rivalries are, within a conference or maybe, within 30 miles, but you guys have a unique kind of rivalry with McCook, one of the best in the state and for sure Class B. And you guys have a shared respect between the two programs. Talk about what it's like to play McCook every year.
Well, we got a lot of respect for Coach Gross and his program there, and it's a community that has a strong tradition in football, and we're the same way. So it makes it a lot of fun for the fans and for the players and everybody involved. We've had some great games, gone down to the wire many times. Just good hard-nosed high school football. And I think the two of us probably have the most playoff appearances in Class B. So, a storied tradition and mutual respect, and we both play good football, and we have fun, and we have a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, it should be a fun one to watch Friday night on which will be live streamed on Striv as well. Let's talk about the game. What do you think the keys will be on to winning this game on Friday?
Well, we got to play good defense. They got a couple of backs that are just phenomenal. They're hard runners and hard to bring down. They got a good quarterback that's really running their offense well. And they got speed on defense. And they really running the ball well, and they do a lot of blitzing. So for us, we got to handle those blitzes when we're on offense, and we got to take care of the football. We got to keep our composure. I think that's going to be big because, it could be a fourth quarter football game. And then on the defensive side, we're going to have to really read our keys. They do some really good play action passes. We got to get lined up well. They do some unbalanced formations. We got to be in the right spot when the ball snaps. So just being sound on defense, communicating, I think is going to be a big key for us to control that offense.
All right. Thank you, Coach, for taking the time here in your beautiful home in Aurora. We look forward to streaming that game Friday night. Aurora will take on McCook at 7 o'clock right from the Aurora High School football field. And, again, good luck this weekend, and we'll look forward to maybe interviewing you later in the season. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Taylor.
All right, I want to thank Coach Huebert for inviting us into his home, and sitting down with him and talking about our game of the week this week. Again, as Aurora Huskies host the McCook Bison, should be a great game. We're excited to be there for it and to be covering it. It'll be live streamed on the Aurora Huskies channel. Tony, any thoughts about our game of the week this week, and Bobby as well?
Well, I'll just quickly, Bobby and I both saw McCook play Northwest, and McCook's going to run it, and Aurora's probably going to try to throw it. So Jake Kittle's got almost 1,000 yards throwing already, and so it'll be kind of a contrasting styles type game. But Aurora's a great place to watch a football game. So no matter what happens, it'll be a good time. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think it should be fun, and we'll see how it goes. So your thoughts on that one, Bobby?
My only thought is when was Aurora and McCook not close and a great football game?
Yep.
So it's going to be, it'll be outstanding, and Aurora's improving every week, so look out.
I know. For sure, Randy Huebert will have to go for it on 4th and 2 from his own 18 in the first quarter, I'm sure. So he usually likes to do that. So we'll see how it goes.
We love that gamble. We love it.
Yep.
All right. Well, that wraps up week number 4 of Prep Huddle Live. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And again, we want to hear from you guys. Shoot us a message on Twitter. Tweet at us at Striv Sports. Use the hashtag Prep Huddle Live, and would love to hear how we can make this show more engaging and just get more people to watch it and get involved on our show, whether it's a guest. If you want to talk about volleyball, football, cross country, girls golf, we want to have you on the show and just promote high school sports. It's been a lot of fun here as we near the end of the month of September, and look forward to continuing to provide you with great coverage here with myself, Tony, and Bobby. So we will see you guys next week. Look for the archive of the show on strivsports.com later tonight. Have a great evening.